Hello again, SGBers. I'm Companion Wolf with another Smile Game Builder tutorial. In this video, I'm going to show how to create a simple campsite where characters can rest and heal or interact with one another. Basically a place to chillax after a hard day of exploring and adventuring. This is a two-part tutorial. Part 1 demonstrates how to set up the basic campsite, and Part 2 will expand on this idea for a little more dynamic content. If you're interested in more tutorials, or if you're new to Smile Game Builder and you would like to be notified of when I upload new content, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon next to it as well. You can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook and Pinterest for news and updates, as well as some unique content. And you can join our SGB Discord server for all things Smile Game Builder. There are also 2 new forums dedicated to SGB, which I'd also encourage you to join. The links to all of these will be in the description. Now I know I haven't uploaded anything for a while. It's been over a month to be exact, but I have been so busy that time has just been sucked into a huge black hole. I did an update video entitled What's Been Going On that'll give more of an insight into what I've been doing and what I'm planning if anyone's interested. Although progress is slow going, it's consistent, and that's the main thing. I'll do another video update a bit later. The idea for the campsite actually came from Final Fantasy 15, which I recently bought and started playing, and so it stirred the pot of creativity. So for the basic campsite setup, there's a bonfire, each of the party members around it, and of course a party leader, which is the start position. And lastly, a couple of tents or a sleeping area. The tent model was kindly created for and given to me by Sana a while ago, and the door is animated, so opens and closes. And the campfire itself I borrowed from 3D.com for the purposes of this tutorial. So the main tent has the options to rest or save. Under rest, make the player transparent to give the illusion that he's disappeared into the tent, and then assign the variable tent a value of 1 and add a tent switch turned to on as well. You'll see why in a moment. Under save, simply call the display save screen. You could have save spots available only at the campsites by putting a disable save, which is from the settings, allow or disable the save, and then that way you can manually set the save here. So the bonfire, which is found in effects, is just an event. Assume this is a blank event right now. Event sheet 2 doesn't exist. It'll just play like its animation, just like that. Now for each party member, we can have a dialogue option based on the current quest, location, something random, and this will be based on a variable. So for this tutorial, I've actually used a variable called quest ID as the identifying variable for sheet 1, as we can see here. And then you display a dialogue with whatever commentary on the current imaginary quest in our case, or whatever you like, basically, underneath here. You can add other branches, mix and match comments on location, random snippets as well, that kind of thing. Design this however you like so that when the player character talks to them, they'll respond in kind. And of course, we need to add the condition where that member is in the party. Otherwise, they'll appear even if they're absent, and you'll be able to talk to a suddenly materializing person or even a ghost. Spooky stuff. Sheet 2 contains the movements each party member takes when it's time to rest and when they return to their tents. Each one must have the condition where the variable tent is equal to 1, which we set up earlier, and the check to see whether they're in the party or not. Otherwise, similarly like before, they'll appear and walk to the tent even when they're not meant to be present, so this is unnecessary to prevent that. The event itself is triggered once only, and then each party member will have a different walk route depending on their position around the fire. So in this case, Marie is very close to a tent, so she only has to walk one space down, then she faces to the right, and then walks to the right into the tent. Add a wait before she disappears, and then make this event transparent. Likewise, Lisa, from her position south of the fire, walks 2 right, 1 up, she faces the right, and then she walks right into the tent. Currently she isn't in the party, so she won't appear around the campfire, but when she is in the party, this will be her route to the tent. Ignaz's movement is 2 spaces up, 2 to the right, he faces up and then enters the tent. Let's do a quick playtest to see how all of this fits together. Choosing save, we'll bring up the save menu, and then if you rest. Now you will have noticed that Ignaz doesn't move where he's supposed to go, meaning he's meant to go here. Okay. Mouse clicking on the entrance. Anyway, so he's meant to go here before entering into the tent, but he didn't. So if that happens, then check that the pass-through players in events is checked, at least on the second walk event, as sometimes the model's blocks will prevent passages. If you uncheck halt if can't move, that'll prevent any further movement and will pretty much end all further movement. So basically this means that if the walk event can't be executed because of something blocking the path, either it'll skip and go on to the next until an event command can be executed, or it'll loop until conditions stay otherwise, which invariably results in an endless loop. In fact, let's test this real quick. Uncheck pass-through events and halt move, and then play test again. So now you will see that Ignis just walks in an endless cycle and nothing else happens. And this is because there is a block around here for the elevation, and that prevents him from walking any further. Ignaz will not proceed as he should, but other events, other triggered events, will still execute. And pass through events, halted can't move is checked. We can do this before moving on to the third playtest to test the conversation part. You might also notice that the party members will turn while sitting towards you when you talk to them, but they won't return to face the fire. We didn't test this out during the last playtest, but trust me, it's a thing. And this is solvable by checking the lock orientation on the part where you want the conversation to be. In this case it would be sheet 1, and you do that in each of their events. And so we can play test this again, and through the power of the F5 debug gods, we can now trigger the conversation, because right now the conversation is off, so they'll not respond at all. And where is it? Quest ID equals to 1, so we'll be able to converse with them. And it's the same with Ignaz. And if Lisa was down here as well, we'd be able to speak to her. Quest ID, or whatever variable you use for the conversations, will be set up somewhere else with whatever variable you chose. Now I've added another event called Rest Auto Trigger to add a little bit more realism to the game. Its condition is where the tent switch is on, remember that from earlier, and it's triggered once only. In the event panel, add a wait time to defer its execution slightly. In this case I found 2.5 seconds is ideal, but you might have to adjust this slightly for your needs. Then darken the screen, heal the party, make the player non-transparent, and change its orientation to down. And then next, set the tent variable to 2. This is for the bonfire, which we'll come to in a moment. And finally, play some music. I used the default lodging middle effect for this. Make sure you check the wait for the fanfare to end, otherwise the events will run even with the fanfare still playing, and we don't want that. You can substitute this for another wait time if you don't want to play music. So back to the bonfire, and then on event sheet 2 the condition tent is equals to 2, triggered once only, and then you give it like a slight wait. Make this transparent. This is to emulate the fire going out during the night, as they tend to do, of course, so when the party wakes up the fire's gone out. Maybe little embers still remain. And finally, brighten the screen. So for the final playtest, we can see all of these combined elements in action. Not forgetting to redo the quest ID. So conversation. And then rest. And it plays as it should. The fire, of course, has gone out. And that's it for this simple campsite scenario, which can be greatly expanded with things like random battles or encounters during the night, learning new skills or spells or whatever else you can think of. You can also add provisions where the other party members appear outside their tents too in the morning, ready for action. In Final Fantasy XV, there are designated areas for camping called havens, where characters can rest and accumulate EXP to level up, and where Ignis Scientia cooks food for various status buffs. You can add these to points on your map to trigger the camping event itself with different maps for different terrains. These can be activated using a map ID variable similar to the system I used in the waypoints tutorial. And then when you're ready to leave, the exit events will reset the tent, switch and variable. And then it'll transport you back to the map on which the campsite you visited is located. I haven't added any move to other locations yet because I've not set any up, but I'll cover that in part 2, along with a few other enhancements such as the aforementioned random encounters. One of the things you won't be able to do, unfortunately, is to use the same kind of EXP accumulation system that Final Fantasy XV uses, because experience, like many other stats, cannot be directly written to with variables. They're fixed values, unless you have a completely customized event-driven system. That's it for this week's tutorial video. If you found it useful, as always, give it a like and subscribe to be notified of when I upload new videos. And don't forget to visit my Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook pages, or my official SGB website. And you can also join the Smile Game Builder Discord server, which includes the Japanese-speaking chat as well, for all the latest SGB news and resources. And don't forget to join the new SGB forums I mentioned as well. All the links are in the description. If you have ideas for new tutorials, questions about SGB in general, or just simply want to drop by to say hi, let me know in the comments below or on Twitter and Facebook, and I'll look into them for future videos. That's it for another tutorial in the Smile Game Builder Tutorials and Showcases series. Thanks for watching. Until the next time.